Bluetooth mode.
Your team is the last global gunslingers of a bygone era. Feel it?
All stations weapon free.
The nature of our threat is unclear now. What do you want us to do about it? Protect us. Time we had a chat.
Unlock the Vault Edition today.
Well, I tell you, this is a great story. I go to the sports psychologist, and so you do the initial paperwork, how many times you masturbate a day? Twice. Every day? Yeah, depending on where I am, yeah, okay. And then, that's the first question, right? Then, so how much do you drink a day? I said, I'll drink at least 10 beers and probably 5 mixed drinks. He said, well, how many days a week do that? I said, every day. He said, well, what do you mean every day? I said, I work every day. I drink the beer in the car, I get to the hotel, and I drink vodka. He came out of his chair like that, right? You drink every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and you've been doing that for how long? I said, well, let me see, it's 1989, I started in 72, you do the math, almost 20 years. He said, that's not possible. We said, oh yeah, it is. By the time I got through with that son of a bitch, he was laying on the couch and I was on the chair talking to him. That's the way it is, Doc.
It's Ric Flair. Lord, how hard it is to be humble. Woo! Ric Flair. It's done like it is. Do I make myself clear? I'm not done, don't roll me up. Woo! 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 To be the man, Daddy, you gotta beat the man. Big City, pretty ladies, nature boy. You want me to do it again? And I'll do it again. Bright lights, big cities, pretty ladies, 5 times the world champion. I am Ric Flair. I've done it all to be the best. Woo! Oh man, I'm on fire today. Oh, don't you ever wrap me up when I'm talking. Woo! 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 Ladies and gentlemen, I know that I have captivated you because I am Ric Flair, the world heavyweight champion. Whether you like it or not, I just plain am the best there is in the sport today. Love you, Anthony. Myself in $100 cleaning slacks. I got 600 suits. I can talk about the nice clothes. They like fine clothes. You know, I buy my clothes at Michael's in Kansas City, Franco's up in Richmond. You can pick one of these up for about $1,500 at Michael's in Kansas City. I'm looking at 146 different suits to choose from because I know how to style and profile. This $850 garment, GQ magazine, Playgirl magazine, the greatest wrestler and best dressed athlete of all time. I dress myself in cashmere. I'm still wearing cashmere. He's not ready to wear $500 ties. What am I?
South Africa lies Orania, a small, isolated community where some say apartheid lives on.
Orania is a whites-only town. Black people cannot live or work here. Every job is reserved for the whites.
Do I believe that places like Orania should exist? No. Do I believe that Orania is racist? Of course. Those are the bad things. But there's also good things happening in Orania.
If you want to live in Orania, you have to meet certain requirements. The first and most important is you have to be a white Afrikaner. Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who played a key role in establishing and enforcing apartheid. You also need to be a Calvinist Christian, have a clean criminal record, and speak Afrikaans only within the enclave. Orania is a relatively small community of about 3,000 people, but they have big ambitions and are growing fast. They have their own local government, currency, flag, college, farms, a bank, and their own rules. Critics call them racists, but supporters say it's a place for cultural preservation and self-determination. This has sparked heated debates about Orania's place in modern-day South Africa. I want to find out the truth about Orania and see it for myself. What drives people to live in such a secluded and controversial place? How do they balance their ideals with modern South Africa? By making the 9-hour journey from Cape Town, I hope to answer these questions. Sit at their table.
Food looks good.
Yeah, it is. Did you move here by yourself, or did you move here with your family?
No, just by myself.
Okay.
No, it's just for these 3 years in the college. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you just come here to study, eh?
Yeah. Me and him as well. He's second year.
And you make friends pretty quickly, are you?
Oh, easily.
There's a lot more young people here than I thought there was going to be. A lot more.
No, it's like it.
What are like some of the interesting things you've noticed from just living here that are kind of different to other towns around South Africa?
Not noisy.
Not noisy. Very clean.
Sound.
After a long, tiring day, we headed home to get some rest. The following morning, we ventured back into town to meet with Joost Strydom, who is the CEO of Orania, for a tour and to gain deeper insight into the town's inner workings and discuss its complex relationship with mainstream media. Nice to meet you.
Joost, Daniel. Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Did you guys have a good trip? Yeah, it's been really cool.
We get a lot of negative media coverage, which is obviously not good for us, but we also get a lot of, not a lot, but it has happened that we get some over-ambitious positive coverage, which is also not true. Calling Orania crime-free, for example, is just something that actually does damage to our community because it sets expectations that's just impossible.
If something small happens, then they go, oh, you see,
or something big happens, you know. If something happens at all, the expectation was nothing, no negative, no crime, no whatever. So that's not good. I've never expected from any journalist or filmmaker or whatever to produce something that's like a puff piece, you know, or a greatest place on earth kind of thing. It's just simply not true. Orania's got challenges like all communities. It's just we chose a specific set of challenges in regards to the things that we are not willing to compromise on. So this house was built by one man on his own. It's a bit of, you know, the type of people that come to Orania. This guy from the foundation, do the final screw in the... Between this and here's the river, it's the Northern Cape border as well as the Orania border. So that's the border there. Then you have got our sporting grounds, rugby fields, tennis and netball courts and so on, swimming pool, the Cooksutter Monument. You can see a lot of trees over here in the town. You can see a lot of agricultural development as well. Our city that we are building, you know, our next step is to build our own city. Next step is 10,000 inhabitants and we'll grow from there, but it's to integrate it with agriculture, make it part of agriculture.
Is that an airport out there, yes?
Yeah, it's a landing strip. We're currently in the process to make plans to develop a more formal airport. So it's a registered landing strip and it can take quite big planes as well.
One of the most unique aspects of Orania is its currency, the Ora. Interestingly, the Ora isn't a real currency at all. It's actually a coupon that is backed by the South African Rand. Residents use the Ora for transactions within the town, while the Rands that back these Oras are kept in a bank, accruing interest. This interest is then reinvested into training entrepreneurs and funding local businesses, which strengthens their local economy. The Ora also serves as a safety measure. If anyone tries to rob a shop in Orania, they will end up leaving with worthless coupons. Additionally, the Ora has become a popular souvenir. Tourists will pay the Rand equivalent of the Ora they want. If a tourist wants a 200 Ora note, they will pay 200 Rand, making it a clever way for the town to generate extra revenue. What is it about the town that people want to expose?
The thing that people come here to expose is kind of a hidden ideology. They are so certain that Oranians are super racist, possibly Nazi kind of people, and we're just putting up this facade to hide it all so that we can continue in peace. And they just need to break through the facade and showcase us what we really are, racist for hatred away. And it's like some of these mainstream journalists can't come to terms with the fact that it's simply not true.
After our tour with Joost, Daniel and I decided to take a break by heading down to the Orange River, which is the longest river in South Africa, stretching over 2,100.
The river is my favourite place, and I know a lot of girls do horse riding. Not my cup of tea. My hobby is netball. So yes, I live for the sport and whatever opportunities I have with it in Orania.
After watching the action netball game, Daniel and I headed home to get some rest and pack our bags, as we planned to leave first thing in the morning. The next day, we were woken up by a call from Joost, asking if we wanted to film the arrival of a new battery that would be used to power the town during rolling blackouts. One of Orania's long-term goals is to become fully independent from South Africa's unreliable power grid, managed by Eskom. In South Africa, we experience something called load shedding. Load shedding is a controlled process where Eskom turns off electricity in certain areas to prevent the entire power grid from failing due to insufficient supply. Installing this new battery is a significant step towards Oranye's goal of becoming fully independent and completely off the national power grid.
Oranye's new battery is actually arriving. Since Oranye's inception, we've been focusing on working towards energy independence. And this is one step closer. A 4.8 megawatt hour battery is arriving today. It's been a long process. We've been working with, financing it, making plans, working with the technical requirements and everything. And today the battery is actually arriving. It's going to be 2 shipping containers with massive batteries. And the town is here to see it. It's a historic moment in Oranye's history. One step closer to energy independence, being able to survive through load shedding from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. so that our economy can go on and our people can work. It doesn't matter if it's stage 0, stage 3 or stage 6 load shedding, we can continue with our jobs.
The bull springs into action. He sees off his rival and claims his prize. Matings are more successful in this species than any other mammal. 95% succeed. After all that activity, the herds head back to the river. But Dragonfly Cam is experiencing technical difficulties. The herd drifts away. His call is unique. If his mother hears his cries, she will react instantly. Vultures keep an eye on everything that happens in the migration. They react quickly to any new opportunity. Lions don't give up their kill easily, but with bellies full, it's easier to take a more relaxed view of scroungers. But for some, it's simply a matter of principle. The vultures are used to this game. They make their living stealing food from lions. Is on the vulture's side. Calf below 6 months old will survive on its own. But there is still hope on the horizon. The herd returns. Once there is fresh grass to eat, herds don't move far. He searches again, but even to a calf, all adult wildebeests look the same. Sound is a more reliable guide. He can recognize his mother's call among 1,000 others. A glimmer of recognition, but smell is the final confirmation as the pair are reunited. It's natural grass that revitalizes the herd. Replenished by these lush meadows, there's even time for a game of chase. It's not only calves that are expert at this game. Cheetahs are the fastest running mammals on Earth, and 1 in every 2 of their hunts are successful. For the calves, playing is a form of training. It hones their escaping skills. But for all their speed, cheetahs still need the element of surprise. A cheetah cannot sustain top speed for more than 15 seconds without overheating. Spotting the predator before he ran gave the calf a vital head start.
The string's dead. I have to change it. The sound will be better. It's a very simple instrument. It takes me 5 minutes to get ready. I can even do it in 2 minutes.
Now it's okay. Ndamaliza.
Out in the bush or on the shores of the lake, there are very few leisure activities here. So whenever Gaspar comes around, it's an event. He has the gift of communicating his love of music, his energy and passion. No need to warm up the house. As soon as he starts playing, the whole village comes under the spell of his music. Freddie could be a pilot 8,000 kilometers from here in his homeland, Denmark, but he has chosen to fly the skies of Africa.
I think flying is the best way to travel anywhere, not just in Africa, but as you say, the roads are very bad in Malawi. It can take 10, 12 hours to get somewhere, where it takes 2 hours to get in the plane. So that's what I do. I bring people from A to B quickly and efficiently and safely. I've always had an attachment to Africa since I was 4 years old. My parents used to live in Africa, so I sort of was brought up in, I lived 4 years in Tanzania. In South Africa, I did my training, then I came here. I don't know, it's exciting. It's always, every day is an adventure, you know?
There are only about 20 planes like this one in Malawi. Here, more than anywhere else, the sky is a realm of freedom that belongs only to those who venture there.
It has its challenges, like the weather is probably the main one. The rainy season is from end of November to about April, and it can be, especially in small single engines like this, it can be quite hard because of we can't go as high as the turboprops, so we have to weave our way through the clouds, thunderstorms, high winds, torrential rain. So that's what makes it exciting and challenging at the same time.
The airplane is perfect for crossing the lake, but the locals can't do without their boats. This passenger cargo ferry calls at the major cities on the lake. The Ilala has been doing regular runs between Malawi and Mozambique since 1955. This boat is the emblem of the country. It's early morning, and there's a stiff breeze on the lake. The boat's captain is worried. At any moment, the Ilala could rip away the landing dock.
The problem's not the wind. I'm more afraid that the boat could tear everything apart. The cables are stretched too tight, especially the short one there. It's really dangerous. We could definitely have problems.
The captain decides to cast off 2 hours ahead of schedule. It's too bad for the passengers who missed the boat. They'll have to wait a week for the next one. Up in the sky, the weather is hardly any better. Freddie is heading towards the north of the country. He's aiming to land on the Chilinda airstrip in the heart of the Nika National Park up in Malawi's highlands. The most difficult place to access in the country.
Okay, so we're going to start descent now into Chilinda, and we'll be leaving 10,500, and we should be on the ground in approximately 10 minutes. But yeah, we should be able to see the metal with us. What if anytime soon you can see the metal through there, over there?
Landing could be very tricky in these conditions. Freddie is trying to spot the airstrip.
It's always the pilot's decision whether he wants to fly or not. You make your own decision and you use your own judgment call, and you just use your common sense to make the right decision regarding the weather. This is the life of the bush pilots. windy, weather was bad, but luckily we made it. And now we're just going to pack up the plane, and then we're going to make our way down to the camp, I think, and see what's going on.
The park rangers are waiting for the pilot in order to carry out a surveillance flight.
Morning, how are you doing?
Nika is the country's oldest natural reserve, a protected area since 1964.
Republic, the FPRC, the most powerful rebel group, reigns over a third of the country. Its military leader, Abdoulaye Hissène, agreed to meet with us.
Why the rebellion? Because of bad governance. There are atrocities, there are killings.
To restore order in his country, the president in power called on the Russians. Like him, some of his fellow citizens feel betrayed by France, which has withdrawn its troops. The Russians have their mercenaries. They provide protection for the president and are gaining influence among Central Africans, in particular by financing beauty contests. Since strengthening their presence with the presidency, the Russians have won mining contracts. The Central African Republic abounds in natural resources. During our tour, we met Usmain, a gold digger.
Yes, there's gold here.
How's that? A good day then? Yes, that's it.
Central African Republic, a trip to a country in chaos.
France were behind France.
Elsewhere in Bangui, some citizens put their faith in their new ally, Russia. It has to be said that Moscow has put in place a well-honed strategy to gain a lasting foothold and conquer both minds and hearts. Today, Bangui La Coquette is getting ready to celebrate glamour. Glamour made in Rus Africa.
We're late for the shoot, so hurry up.
The country's most beautiful women are gathered at a select location in the capital. Aged between 18 and 25, 11 finalists from Bonne Société are vying for the prestigious title of Miss Central Africa.
I'm Mademoiselle Gameto Juliana from Bangor. I come from Lalo Bay. I represent Bascoto.
As for Charlène, Miss Bangui, she already sees herself at the top of the bill.
Why do I think I'm going to be missed? Because I have to be Miss. Parce que j'ai les possibilités. And given the theme, which is beauty and intelligence, I know I already meet those criteria.
The 23-year-old management student is spending her final hours at the Miss boarding school.
Hello? Yes, Mom. We're about to leave.
And she's relieved.
I've been here for 2 weeks. I really miss my family. Tomorrow I'll be out of boarding school, so I'm fine.
But before leaving for the ceremony, the candidates gather to pray. With a special thought for the new friends of the Central African Republic. The election takes place at the 2000, and after 4 hours of effort, it's finally time. Civil war and its thousands of deaths.
It's no longer possible for someone to do the same thing here. That's the end of it. We don't attack anyone, but we protect ourselves. If we take up arms, we're strong. That's how strong we are.
The journey to meet the rebel leader turns into a nightmare. You can't see anything now, there's too much dust. Our first silting up. Then we have to keep a lookout, sometimes at the risk of drowning the engine. And after just a few kilometers, another puncture. The 8th since we set off, and it's already the last spare. Then a makeshift bridge gives way under the weight of a vehicle.
Now it's dead. This is no good.
Half the lead vehicle is stuck in the middle of the river. Then a militiaman has an idea. Tow the car.
He'll hook onto the back of the car, and we'll push ahead of the pickup.
And after 4 hours of effort, it's finally time. We've been on the road for 5 days and have finally reached Birao. Here we finally...
This is a history YouTuber. Of the Red Sea, and across the Indian Ocean beyond, existed an ancient system of trade, one of the most important crossroads in world history. For those daring enough to attempt the voyage from southern Arabia across to the multitude of emporiums on India's western coast, a fortune could be made. And then, due to the curious monsoon winds of the sea, if all went to plan, they could be blown all the way back to where they started, with little effort. Sometime between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD, a hard-headed Greek sea captain made a record of the various ports and anchorages across this vast ocean of opportunity. We know it as the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea.
That unnamed merchant sailor, clearly a veteran of the trade winds, not only describes a huge multitude of Indian, Persian, Arabian, Yemeni, and Egyptian ports, but he describes the world to the south too. For it wasn't just India that Greco-Roman merchants would travel to sell their wares, but Africa too. The 3rd century prophet Mani, a Persian by birth, regarded the Aksumite Empire in modern-day Ethiopia as one of the 4 great powers of his time, alongside Persia, Rome, and China. In the next century, this city-building civilization with links to the Middle East lasting thousands of years would become one of the first Christian powers in the world. Further south, in modern-day Somalia, a multitude of other cities are described, until finally we get to our southernmost port, Rapta. Somewhere on the coast of modern-day Tanzania. The great 2nd century geographer Ptolemy also describes the lands further inland from here, suggesting Alexandrian travellers knew of Mount Kilimanjaro and the Great Lakes region where the Nile originates. It's more than likely that they first made port at the trading emporium of Rapta, according to the Periplus, a source of ivory, tortoise shell, and rhino horn, items often originating far inland. Perhaps an outpost of the Himyarite kingdom of Yemen. Historian James Innes Miller argues that Rapta may have once formed a vital trade link between modern-day Indonesia and consumers in the Mediterranean. For centuries, the location of Rapta was thought to have been lost, and it is still debated today. In recent decades, however, Tanzanian archaeologist Dr. Felix Chami discovered on the island of Mafia and Shuani a heavy concentration of Roman and Egyptian coins dating from the first few centuries AD, suggesting this may have been the location of the lost trading hub. From the 4th until the 9th centuries, as Rome declined, East Africa largely disappears from the Western historical record, though Rapta does seem to have survived for a time, being mentioned by the 6th century trader Cosmas Indicopleistes, and by Stephanus of Byzantium. Yet, by this time, most of the merchants active in this region originated in southern Arabia. Thus, with the birth of Islam in the 7th century, it was Islamic traders who began to dominate the coastal routes. Now, finally, we have our first mention of native Africans along the southern African coastline. A Bantu-speaking group of farmers and fishermen known as the Swahili. The Swahili language, the word itself coming from the Arabic for coast, is a melting pot, reflecting the diverse groups of peoples who plied this coast, also containing Indian and even Portuguese words. By the 9th century, all along modern-day Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania, urbanized Islamic communities began to form, building in stone and in coral. Long thought to have been built by Islamic emigres, modern archaeology, and even contemporary accounts now heavily suggest that though Islamic in origin, this was a native African tradition. Perhaps the most important of these sites now sits on a remote Tanzanian island, the ruined city of Kilwa Kisiwani, settled from around the 9th century onwards. Vitally, more glass beads are found at this site than anywhere else in the area at this time, suggesting a monopoly over trade with the Swahili coast, which may have exhausted ivory links further east to the sea and been forced to look further inland as a result, thus kickstarting this societal shift. At Schroeder, these travelling merchants found good trading partners, and the elites became rich. It's thought by some scholars that glass beads may have even begun to replace cattle as a form of currency. It is also this time that gold mining begins. Was this the native African kingdom spoken of
by Al Masudi. With great prosperity, however, always comes a price. The new elites at Schroeder had effectively placed a target on their backs. In the deepest, darkest jungles of Africa lies a place of legends. Which are home to an extraordinary abundance and diversity of life. This volcanic ash-fertilized jungle is a World Heritage Site. And some extraordinary animals live here. From colorful birds to exotic lizards. And from strange monkeys to great apes. In 1898, a white elephant hunter exploring the Virungas came across the skeleton of a gigantic ape. This sparked rumors of giant killer beasts rampaging the jungles here. But it wasn't until 1902 that the Virungas, which could violently erupt at any moment, volcanic lava burning its course through the jungle would kill everything in its path. But there's an even bigger threat should the volcanoes erupt. If the lava were to reach the lake at their base, it could cause a catastrophe. Lake Kivu is full of volatile, deadly gases. Molten lava would ignite a massive explosion. Kivu is one of only 3 known exploding lakes in the world. These
These fishermen come from all
over Uganda and Rwanda to fish here. To one of the most dangerous places on the planet.
Lake Kivu sits at sea level upon a fault line.
Part of the Rift Valley that is still today slowly being pulled apart. This volcanic activity could wipe out life in the surrounding area. Lake Kivu is coming from far and wide. These wetland birds are visiting from the surrounding crater lakes where they live. The ancient lakes scattered around this area were formed millions of years ago by the shifting of the Earth's tectonic plates. Known as the African Great Lakes, they are some of the largest and biologically richest lakes in the world. There are 9